Exactly one train has ever been sunk by a submarine. Not shelled from offshore, sunk, the way you'd sink a ship. On dry land, on an island. It's after midnight, 23rd July, 1945, and 8 men crouch beside a Japanese railway on Sakhalin, scraping a hole under the rails with tools they built themselves. A 5-minute window is closing on them. They came off a submarine, which raises the only question that matters. How did a submarine crew bury a bomb under a train? The men on that railway embankment were not there by accident. They were there because their captain kept finding new places to point a submarine. Start with the boat. USS Barb, hull number SS-220, a Gatto-class fleet submarine, and by July 1945, she was on her 12th war patrol. 12. Most boats never saw that many. Her captain was Commander Eugene Fluckey. The crew called him Lucky. He wore the Medal of Honor, and he finished the war as the second highest tonnage submarine commander the United States produced. That is the resume. It undersells the man. Fluckey treated the rulebook as a place to begin, not a place to stop. On this same patrol, Barb became the first submarine to fire rockets at an enemy in combat. A bank of them launched from her deck at shore targets. Nobody had ordered that. He had built it, and then he used it. That was the pattern with Fluckey. If the standard tactic ran out, he invented the next one. By late July, invention was starting to look like necessity. Barb was patrolling the Sea of Okhotsk off the coast of Sakhalin, and the hunting had gone thin. The Japanese merchant fleet was mostly on the bottom already. A submarine needs targets, and Fluckies were running out. But he was watching the shore, and on the shore, something was still moving. The Karafuto main line ran the length of that coast, and the trains ran on schedule. Coal, freight men, while the ships sat resting in port. The ships were gone, the trains were not. Fluckey fixed on that, and started asking a question no submarine skipper had ever seriously asked. Here is the problem nobody on Barb had ever been asked to solve. How do you make a submarine sink a train? The charge was the easy part. The trigger was not. A timed fuse might fire on an empty stretch of track or under a handcar and waste the whole raid. You needed a switch that closed under one thing only, the weight of a locomotive. Billy Hatfield, an electrician's mate who had worked the railroads before the war, sat with that problem and reached back into his childhood. He remembered cracking walnuts as a boy. You set the nut down, wait, and bring the weight down when the moment is right. That was the answer. A micro switch under the rail, rigged so the flex of the steel under a passing train, and nothing lighter, would close the circuit. The crew built it in the torpedo room. 55 pounds of explosive, wired to Hatfield's pressure trigger. The batteries packed into an empty pickle can because a pickle can was what they had. It was crude. It was also exactly right for the job. Fluckey picked 8 men to carry it ashore. He weighted the list toward the unmarried, his own quiet arithmetic about who he could afford to lose. Chief Paul Saunders would lead. Hatfield went too, because Hatfield understood the device better than anyone alive. They crossed to Sakhalin in rubber rafts, paddling low over black water toward a hostile shore. They carried the bomb. They also carried stakes. Raw meat to quiet any guard dogs that came sniffing at the beach. The plan gave them a narrow window on land. 5 minutes in and out before the timing of the patrols turned against them. That window began closing the moment they reached the tracks. Now they had to get the Pickle-Can Bomb under the rails without being caught. They were digging with garden trowels, not a figure of speech. The 8-man shore party had carried actual trowels ashore, because nobody in the United States Navy had ever needed a tool for burying a bomb under a railroad. So they scraped. Under the near rail of the Karafuto mainline, in the dark, in the ballast, while a 5-minute clock ran in every man's head. Here is the part I want you to hold on to. Billy Hatfield's charge did not need a man to fire it. His pressure switch, the walnut cracker trigger he built from a boyhood memory, sat in the hole so the locomotive's own weight would close the circuit. The train would kill itself. No wire back to the beach, no hand on a plunger, just a switch in the gravel, waiting. And then a train came, not their train, a real one. Early headlamps swelling down the line while 8 men lay in the open beside the track. They went flat. Faces in the dirt, charge half buried, the ground shaking under them as the cars roared past a few feet from their heads. Then it was gone, and they were still alive, which surprised at least some of them. You would think that settles it. Finish the hole, arm the switch, leave. Instead, the crew argued for planting closer to the rail, right against the steel, where the shot would be certain. Fluckey's own men, on Japanese soil, refusing to do the safe thing because the safe thing was a worse shot. He later called it a near mutiny. They dug the charge in tighter, so the switch went under the rail, snug in the ballast, armed. The whole operation now rested on a piece of gravel-buried hardware and the weight of a locomotive that had not yet arrived. The men backed away on their hands and knees, smoothing the disturbed stone as they went. The charge was set. That was the easy half. Now they had to reach the beach before a train did. The 8 men hit the surf hard, dragging the rubber boats through the shallows, pulling for Barb, the sub waiting offshore. Behind them, the Karafuto main line held Hatfield's charge under the rails. The Pickle-Can trigger set, the train waiting for a locomotive. They pulled. And somewhere north on that line, a headlight was coming. The train reached the switch at speed. On the night of 23rd July 1945, the wheels found the plunger Hatfield had rigged, from a boyhood memory. And the whole question the shore party had carried since darkness fell answered itself in one flash. Fluckey watched it through the periscope. Engine wreckage flew some 200 feet ahead of a mushroom of smoke. The boiler, the cab, the front of the locomotive thrown clear down the track. Then the rest arrived. 16 cars piled into the wall of wreckage the engine left behind. Some rode up and over it. The train folded on itself in the dark, and the men in the boats felt the blast roll across the water before they heard it. All 8 came back aboard. Barb took them in, secured the boats, and turned for open water off the Sakhalin coast. The charge did exactly what it was built to do. The party was recovered, and the submarine withdrew. That single blast made history in a way no other submarine ever matched, and I want to show you exactly how. Here is the record, stated plainly. USS Barb destroyed the only train ever sunk by a submarine. No one else did it before, and no one has done it since. And this was not luck dressed up as daring. Billy Hatfield's pressure switch worked because a railroad electrician sat down and thought it through. Weight on the rail, contact closes, charge fires. Fluckey's whole patrol had been an argument that a submarine could hunt in ways nobody had tried. This was the argument won. There is a second line in that record. The 8 men who paddled ashore that night carried out the only ground operation on the Japanese home islands in the entire war. They set the charge, cleared a hostile beach inside their window, and got home. Fluckey received the Medal of Honor. His crew earned the Presidential Unit citation. The medals mark what 8 sailors and a homemade trigger actually pulled off. It is a fitting close to a story built on nerve and invention. That's the only train a submarine ever sank. Thanks for watching. If it held you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone. See you next time on Ask Sable.